A very good day to our lecturer Miss Zalina, and not to forget to our fellow classmates as well. Today our group would like to presenting the topic of brain drain. What is brain drain? Brain drain referring to a qualified individuals that move to various regions of the world. These people are hoping for a higher standard of living quality of life, such as to get higher income. According to the data stated, there were 1.7 million Malaysians that work abroad, and they usually found in Singapore, Australia, US, and UK. Next, we will go through to the implication. It seems like these matters have more disadvantages than the advantages. First is where Malaysia facing loss of human capital result shortage of skill. It also as well cut off Malaysia aspiration to become a high income nation. This is because people who are able for our country is now an asset for another country. On the other situation, the good side of it where Malaysians who working overseas contribute considerably in national income. For example, despite that family members who working in overseas just a lower skilled labor, but they still can send a big portion of their salary to their family back in home. As a result, this method could contribute to country's GDP, and poverty among the society can be resisted. Therefore, actions must be taken. Firstly, the government collaborate with Talent Corporation Malaysia to reform the government abroad scholarship policy. This policy allowed the scholarship holder to utilize their skill by working with the private sector in Malaysia. Next, the Public Service Department scholarship increased to the non-Bumi Putras. Here is no longer about Bumi Putra who needed to catch up, but also nation as a whole. Not only that, the government and private sector need to consider to invest more in terms of salary and benefits of employment in Malaysia. Last but not least, they also have this program of returning expert program to entice Malaysian working abroad to come home.
On to our next slide, I will be presenting about one of the factors that leads to brain drain in Malaysia. It's having low salaries and unattractive compensation in our country. As we are all aware, Malaysia is known to have low salaries compared to other countries around the world. Despite having big cities such as Kuala Lumpur, our salaries continue to remain low. With such demanding environment that requires high amount of productivity among workers, Malaysians are not getting enough pay, and prices of goods is increasing more than our average salaries. How does brain drain affect our economy? With such low salary, most of the younger generation are declared bankrupt. This is because they are in a lot of debt. For instance, high cost of living, paying off study loans, and purchasing of cars. Since our public transportation is not all reliable, people see a car as part of a necessity. It's convenient to have your own transportation back and forth to work and home. However, maintaining a car is not cheap. In addition to having such low wages, Malaysia are facing difficulties in raising a family. The expenses of a wedding, child's education, and daycare, just to name a few, they all come with a price, and that's expensive. Many have left the country to earn better income due to having higher currency as compared to Malaysia. For example, a fruit picker can easily earn about 8,000 ringgit a month. than engineers in Malaysia. Most talented and experienced people have migrated to another country, causing us loss of intellectual capital. Fresh graduates are often earning less than they should. Hence, they prefer to work outside of Malaysia after pursuing their studies overseas. With little amount of wages, this has caused lower purchasing power within Malaysians. The lesser the buyers, the lesser the economic growth, as there is no income generated towards it. There are few ways where Malaysia can prevent or decrease the amount of brain drain, which is taking a toll in our economy. The government has started revising the policy to restructure salary schemes among its employees. As of June 2022, minimum wage has increased to 1,500 ringgit. That is a good start, although I feel that it should have started a long time ago. Other than that, organizations in Malaysia should offer salaries that matches with one's qualification. Oftentimes we see youngsters becoming entrepreneurs or starting their own business because it's better than having to work like crazy but still get paid low. Malaysia could also offer better environment to work in, such as providing counseling session for workers who are dealing with mental exhaustion. Provide a conducive working space so that they feel comfortable and not dread of wanting to leave the office as soon as they arrive. In addition, Malaysia can attract their own people back to serve the country by providing better benefits, such as daycare center in the office building. A lot of parents are struggling to balance work and taking care of their children. Why not provide one in the same building? This could save costs and time for both employers and employees. It's a win-win situation. Not only that, Malaysians' organization could do better if they invest in their own people, give employees trainings, attend seminars, so that they feel valued by the company. This will definitely drive them to stay loyal. If we can decrease the amount of brain drain within Malaysia, Malaysia can definitely achieve a lot more moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, now I will present on how political instability causing brain drain issue increase in Malaysia. Political stability is one of the most significant causes of brain drain. It is a crucial consideration for every investor when deciding whether or not to invest in the country. It is now a significant factor for a professional to determine whether or not to stay in the country. Lot of negative news found in the opposition party and international media that the Malaysian political has been shambled in recent years. With a lot of negative news found, according to Safwan and Ghazali 2015, this political instability strongly discouraged professionals to stay in our country, and it further increased the impact of brain drain. Next is, low economic growth will also result in increase in crime. Our country now is experiencing sluggish economic development, and as a result, the crime rate has increased. This drives professionals to be concerned about their safety and to opt to relocate to a nation with a greater security. Other than that, a country that is at war or in a state of military tension will also influence a person's decision to leave the country. Next is the implication of political instability to the nation increasing rate of brain drain. When there is a significant amount of brain drain in the developing nation, there may be some negative repercussion that can affect the nation's economy. Some of these negative repercussions include a decrease in human capital, a limited capacity to innovate, a reduction in economic growth, shift in graphic makeup and increase the cost of public goods. Additionally, a loss of tax money, prospective future business, vital and trend workers, and most importantly, a future administrator for the country are all the things that are lost. The second implication is loss of very knowledgeable and highly qualified individual. This is where people perception of the political instability in the country will be influenced by the government action with the migrants once all of its response have been considered. In addition, the majority of people who are immigrant are people with advanced degrees. Hence, they do not have any desire to return to the native country in order to serve it. A very knowledgeable and highly qualified individual has left the country, and this will cause a significant loss for the nation. For the suggestion is our group has concluded that the political drama taking place in Malaysia should not be overreacting or reacting in an immature manner to the migrants. They should think of a better solution, such as a better job and salary offer, or creating a better policy in order to convince them to come back and serve the nation. And politicians should also do the same. If all the professional that has left the country is coming back to the nation, we can predict that when they serve the country, it will cause a boost to the nation economy, creating a better economy and welcoming more investors and strengthen the nation economy. Of course, there will be more job opportunity for the society. By stabilizing the political scene in the country will surely attract the investor to come back to invest in Malaysia and the migrant to come back home. In order to fix the issue, in addition to the political, economic and growth in Malaysia needing to be addressed, unity among the races as well as love for our nation needing to be achieved, all of which are necessary.
So let us see what are the effects of brain drain towards our economic situation. Talented people are born, reared, and educated in their own country. But when it comes time to work and repay what has been given to them, they leave and look for work elsewhere. Brain drain mostly impacts skilled people, resources for trade, education, and trained health professionals. The top three main reasons why people opt to leave the nation are job prospect, social injustice, and salary. The drain effect is the decrease in the stock of human capital that occurs as a result of skilled immigration. Developing countries may also suffer economic losses, limiting their development and their ability to produce more skilled people. Without the growth and improvement that the skilled and educated people who departed could have offered, the country will be unable to compete worldwide and become isolated from the rest of the globe. What are the implications? Brain drain doesn't have immediate economic effects. It takes time. Economists fear the situation will spiral out of control if nothing is done to stop the brain drain. Leaving for better opportunities is the only way to enhance their country's economies. Developing countries gain from the superior economies of other countries without losing all of their resources, especially educated workers. Without restoring economic balance, no investment will occur. How should positive and bad brain drain be regarded and managed? Socially and economically, problems outweigh gains. Therefore, brain drain is negative. Stop or manage it. Highly educated illegal immigrants could be banned from working in their home country. They often work for low wages, making it hard or impossible for a legally educated person to get work. Industrialized countries should make work visas more difficult. So what are the suggestions to this problem? The loss of intellectual capacity is mitigated by economic growth, especially among those with higher levels of education. Some emerging nations have a hard time competing on the global stage and managing to keep their inhabitants educated. Developing nations are obligated to provide more access to facilities, jobs, and opportunities for labor at higher levels. They need to investigate the reason behind why citizens are leaving and lessen or remove the factors that are producing unhappiness. These nations need to recognize the greatness and continue to cultivate it by creating more possible for their citizens. To conclude, all said factors above that lead Malaysia to brain has its own implications that may have advantages and disadvantages, as well with the suggestion too. But how far it can be preventive structure to the brain issue in Malaysia. Moreover, the country is lagging behind the other countries in terms of industrial development as there are limited numbers of talented employees towards providing innovative ideas. Therefore, Malaysian government should revise the salary structure of the employees both in public sector as well in the private sector. On the other hand, Malaysian organizations should also increase the promotional opportunities of the employees for encouraging them towards staying in their hometown. Not to be forgotten, the unstable political climate has shaken up young graduates' inclination to stay as their worry future will be in shambles with uncertainties. In brief, the occurrence of brain drain in Malaysia happens in part because of exterior persuasion, which is pull factors from developed countries, while domestic insufficiencies in our homeland, which is push factors has hastened the immigration process. In order to rectify the situation, apart from economy and development in Malaysia, have to be improved. Unity among races in addition to the love for our country need to be attained as well. That's all from our group. Thank you.